Okay, so today we're going to be working on this HP 4040 pressure washing pump, and we're going to be replacing the oil seals because we are getting water mixed in with the oil. So we're going to try to replace this on the skid, but I have a feeling we're going to have to maybe move it off the skid, but I'm not sure yet. But definitely going to have to move this water tank because to get those seals out, I'm going to have to need more room than what I have right here. Okay, but the tank has now been removed out of the way, so now I have enough room to work. I'm now going to use this impact and 13 millimeter and remove these 8 bolts here. Hopefully they come out easy. Let's try with this first one. Okay, and then we'll do the same for the rest. Okay, now with all 8 bolts removed, the goal is to try to separate the pump head from the pump. So we might get lucky and we might be able to just spin this, and sometimes these come out and sometimes you have to pry without damaging to get this off. Now I'm also going to use probably a rubber mallet and tap on this if this doesn't come off just by spinning it. So I'm going to try to spin it here. Let's see what happens. Okay, see it separating? I don't know if you can see that. Okay, did you see that crack right there? So I'm going to need both hands, but the next concept here is to slide this off. You have to be really careful because there's 3 pistons inside here. So you have to kind of keep this as level as you can when you pull it out. Okay, I did a little bit of wiggling, literally just, moving it up and down kind of fast and then pulling at the same time. And it does come out. So what we're after is inside here. So we're gonna have to remove these bolts here, take these off, and then remove those seals. But also inspected these really briefly, and I don't know if you can see that, if there's enough light to see that, but there is some wear on those rubber seals in here. I wasn't going to change these packings. This is the water side packings. I wasn't going to change them, but after looking at this, I think I'm going to. You can kind of see here too some of the rubber from the packings. And if you look at the ceramic pistons, you can kind of see some rubber there as well. So now I will say, when I winterized this, I blew all the water out via air, and I did run the pump for a few seconds just to make sure there was no air. So it is quite possible that this wear happened from that, or it's just quite possible that this pump never had its seals changed, which is probably more than likely the issue as to why that's like that. I'm guessing these are just worn out seals. Okay, so for the next step, we got to remove the oil seals, which are behind each one of these. And to do that, I have a tool that I got from I don't know, Clean Right or Spray Well, one of those two. But there's the part number. Now this was for the TSF 2021 I did. but they were both 20 millimeters. So in other words, the oil seals in the TSF 2021 were 20 millimeters, and these were 20 millimeters. As a matter of fact, it's the same exact part for this particular pump. This is the HP 4040. They use the same oil seals, which is great. So that means I could use the same tool. So what I'm going to do is put this tool in here. You can see, got to back the piston down all the way. Okay. So, as luck would have it, that oil seal removal tool is a few millimeters bigger than the port, so the tool wouldn't go in all the way. So I'm gonna have to do it the old-fashioned way, and that is put the piston guide all the way in by rotating this, which this one is almost all the way in, and then I'm gonna come in very gently into the inner side of the lip. I'm going to go through a little bit, and then I'm going to twist the screwdriver, and then I'm going to turn this out. So the theory there is if I got a nice tight grip on it, I'm going to be able to pull the seal out as the piston guide comes out. So that's what we're going to attempt to do. I did just change the oil. I'm sorry, I just emptied the oil because I didn't want any oil. Once I took the seals out, I didn't want any oil to come out of here. So I just drained all the oil out. So this is the way you would do it if you didn't have a removal tool. It's not the greatest way to do it because you could potentially scratch the surface of this here and cause a bigger problem. So we're going to try to be very gentle as we can. I see a lot of people actually removing it this way today without the tools, the proper tool to do it, and it works. It's just not my preferred way of doing it, but since I don't have the tool, I'm going to do it. Okay, I was able to get the first one out, as you can see here. There's the seal. Now I did measure up the insertion tool, which is this tool here, and that is about a 22 millimeter socket. So if you don't have this tool, 22 millimeter socket should work fine. But with the tool, the idea is you put the seal on here, and then you hammer it into place. But my measurements, I believe you can get that with a 22 millimeter socket. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the second two, this one and this one. And again, this is the screwdriver that I decided to go with, just as a relation to, that's the tip of my finger. So it wasn't a super small one, it wasn't a big one, it was kind of like a medium. Okay. I did manage to get the other two out. So I got the one that's there and these two. This one did take a little bit of more work than these two, but you just have to be really careful prying at that, not to scratch anything. So don't really know if I did any long-term damage scratching it or not. Sure hope not. Hope this was a harder metal than the screwdriver, but I guess we'll see when I put it back together and if it leaks or not. Alright, so here's the kit. General Pump Kit 02. And I got two of them in already, and I was going to show you the third one. So what I'm going to do is put a little bit of grease around on the inside and outside. And then with the insertion tool, I don't know if you can see the part number there. But again, I think a 22 millimeter socket would work fine. Make sure you got the seal turned the right way. And you just put it on the tool. So it's like that. And just line it up. And then you hit it in. Now I'm going to set the... Alright. So what we have to do next is inspect the ceramic pistons for any cracks or chips. If you have a crack or chip, most likely you'd have water leaking out of the front of your pressure washer. I didn't have that, but nonetheless, I'm going to inspect all these, and then on these there's a copper washer, and then there's 2 seals right there that need to be inspected as well. Copper washer is supposed to be replaced. So I gotta put these back in. These are supposed to be facing down. I don't know that it matters, but they say these are supposed to be facing down when you put them back on. And these go on first, then the plungers go on. They get torqued. It says around 14 foot-pounds. I'm gonna put a little Loctite, blue Loctite on the end of them. It says use 20% less when you use something like a liquid or a lubricant on them. I'm also gonna put anti-seize on the head bolts. I think the head bolts are 22 pounds, so it's technically it'd be 22 less 20%, which would probably be somewhere around 19 foot-pounds for the head bolts. But so what we're gonna do next is inspect these, and then I'm gonna have to order some packings, but I'm probably also gonna need to use this pump. So I'm gonna go ahead and lubricate these packings and then put this back on, order these parts. These packings, for the complete packing, that's all new brass seals, the high pressure seal, the low pressure seal, the basically I think there's 7 components inside here. They run about $31 for each one of these, so it'd be about $90 or $100, somewhere around $100 with tax to replace all 3 of these. I did not experience any issue with low pressure. I was able to get around 3,000 to 3,500 psi consistently out of this pump, and I had no leaking out of the pump head, the front of the pump head. I had no water coming out of there. So I'm gonna order a set, order 3 of them actually, and but in the meantime, before they come in, I'm gonna go ahead and just clean these up and put everything back together, and then we'll do a test and see what we got. All right, so seals were put back, ceramic plungers were inspected, all the rings were inspected, the oil rings there. Did not replace the copper washers, so not sure if that's gonna have an issue or not. I did re-grease all these packings, and then what we're gonna do now is put it back on the pump, and we're gonna torque those 8 bolts down to around 20 foot-pounds each bolt. Okay, the head slid right on. I did put anti-seize on all 8 of these bolts. Now I'm gonna torque them down. This particular pump says 22 foot-pounds less 20%, so probably somewhere around 20 foot-pounds. Here's the sequence I'm gonna use. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Okay, I just wanted to wrap up this video. I got everything connected back up. I did use the original packings. I did order new packings, but I figured I'd put it back together and try it out. There was no water leaks or any oil in the water, or water in the oil, I should say. I had my unloader set at 2,500 psi, and it was making 2,500 psi without a problem. So that's how you change the oil seals on an HP 4040.